plane departed on time. The 90 minutes we spent in the air seemed to skip by. I was nervous, and my mom, being drunk and petrified, didn't help. But I stayed calm. Watching the patchworked terrain below, I daydreamed about what returning to California would mean for us. With every second in the air, I knew New Mexico would soon be just a memory. As we exited the plane in Fresno, the familiar sounds of city life immediately put me at ease. My mom had impulsively decided we should move back and didn't really have a plan. The first few weeks after our return, we spent staying with her high school friend in a very nice house. I was encouraged to use the pool in the backyard and watch their cable. My mom and I shared a room and an air mattress. When it was time to leave, I was given no real notice, just told we were going back to the trailer park in Prather to live with our old neighbor Kimberly for a while. It was just 3 days after my 12th birthday when we made our way to our new home. It had only been about 3 years since we left the trailer park. I lived there during all of 4th grade, and now was starting 7th. The school year had already begun, and while my old schoolmates remembered me, I didn't know where I fit in. It was lonely at first until my friend Chantel pulled me into her group. We reminisced about the time we put on a 2-person showing at the play Rock Soup for a 1-person audience. My mom. To this day, I still have a recurring dream about being back on that campus in Prather, trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be. In the dream, no teacher has me on their roster, and they send me away from every class I try to join. Then Chantel runs up to me and suddenly pulls me into what looks like our 4th grade classroom where we feel safe. Our real 4th grade teacher, Mr. Redding, isn't there. Instead, it's the cartoon cutout he kept on the chalkboard, Lady E. In the real world, Lady E was a fun, interactive tool Mr. Redding used to gossip about us kids. But in my dream, she's the teacher and she's excited to see me. Then I wake up. The subconscious is a weird place full of reruns. Anyway, we stayed with Kimberly and her kids for maybe a month before it was time to move again. It became clear we weren't really moving anymore, just bouncing around. My mom's hurry to escape New Mexico hadn't been thought out. She couldn't find a job, and while child support from my dad and survivor's benefits from my stepdad got us the basics, it wasn't enough. I trusted she'd keep us sheltered somehow, but I felt helpless. Leaving Kimberly hurt, especially since Sammy Jo, her daughter, was one of my best friends. And I missed Chantel too. Next, we moved to Madera to live in my step-grandparents' garage. They tried to make it as homey as possible. My step-cousin lived there as well. As embarrassing as this is, we got caught by our grandma experimenting one evening, if you catch my drift, and that set off a chain of events. My mom didn't believe my grandma had seen what she claimed, and I was hysterical at the accusation. My cousin also denied it. I stormed out of the house and walked to a nearby tackle box store before calling my mom and telling her we needed to leave. The next day, she went to the county office and was approved for food and motel housing vouchers. We moved into a motel near the train tracks, half a mile from what would be my 3rd new school since starting 7th grade. The motel had a cabin-like feel with a kitchenette, a full bathroom, and 2 beds. The TV barely got one channel, but I didn't mind. The public library was only a block away, and I'd soon discover all it had to offer. I knew we wouldn't be staying at the motel long, so I didn't bother trying to make friends. I spent most of my free time at the library. One day I stumbled across the autobiographical section and realized I could read about the lives of TV stars. For the next month, I devoured stories about Estelle Getty, Gilda Radner, Vanna White, and Jack A. Harry, more than any 12-year-old boy in the late 90s probably should. Throughout all these moves, I felt the worst for Lady Bird, our loyal dog. Thankfully, she was small enough to sneak into the motel, but she was overwhelmed and exhausted. Not being able to go outside when she needed to caused accidents, and my mom would yell at her. I comforted her until she stopped shaking. Every night, she jumped between our beds, making sure we were safe. One day, I came home from school to find the motel door locked. I could hear Lady Bird inside, but my mom was gone. Without a key, I walked to a spot near the train tracks, pulled out a book about Joan Chen, and read until sunset. Eventually, my mom showed up, hurrying toward me with a huge smile. She had gotten us an apartment in Clovis, closer to Fresno. Not just an apartment, but furniture, clothes, and even money for cable. I don't know where she got the income since she didn't have a job and I never asked. Suddenly, though, we weren't just existing anymore. We were going to have a home. That very night, we packed up the last of our belongings, grabbed the dog, and moved in. The apartment complex was huge. Driving through, I saw pools and parking spaces, slowly realizing this was our 6th home in 3 months. It would also be my 4th middle school in just 2 months. I hoped this was it. I needed stability. My mom and I slept on the futon in the living room that first night. She ordered pizza and Pepsi and let me stay up past midnight watching MTV. I wouldn't be going to school the next day anyway. She wanted me to relax and settle in. It wasn't until we both felt calm that she began her emotional downward spiral. I've written about that elsewhere and wouldn't be surprised if it comes up in future essays. For now, this one ends with that first night in the new apartment. Saying goodbye to the stress of being a homeless 12-year-old was a relief. Safety, even fleeting safety, was better than nothing.